we're back again today with the Galaxie. Hopefully, if everything goes right, today is going to be the first start in what I believe is probably around 30 years. The registration was last, registered in 1992. So I believe this was the last time this was probably put on the road. Everything looks cool. The oil doesn't seem to have any water in it. I really smell only a faint, slight amount of fuel. It's full. I have checked it. I have pulled the distributor. I have put a drill and actually primed the engine for several minutes and let oil come through everything, all the rockers and the push rods and such. I did pull off valve cover, did make sure I was having good flow. I'm going to rig up a mechanical oil pressure gauge because I honestly don't trust the gauges in there as I have not seen them actually function. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to throw in a brand new set of plugs and wires. I am going to file off the points. So let me bring you under here and we'll take a look and I'll show you all kind of everything that I have got going on. Alright, so what we have here is a nice 390 engine. Autolite 2-barrel, 2100 from everything I can read on the tag. I'm still not sure if this is the original setup. I really doubt it. From what the VIN says, it should be a 394-barrel, 300 horsepower engine. But everything I'm finding so far shows this is also being a 1964 engine. So who knows? I'm going to keep digging and research and find out what I can dig up on the car itself. Definitely fits the bill because it does have an AC dash pot. I did talk to an older guy at work who said in the 70s people used to actually take off their 4-barrel carburetor setups and put on 2-barrel setups just to try to save on gas. Which I don't know anything about that. I'm not old enough to have lived through those embargoes, so I imagine it's pretty difficult. But I have pulled this line off here, off the mechanical pump. I'm going to bag over it, and I'm going to, further down here at the mechanical pump, I'm going to crimp a set of shutoff pliers that I have, especially made to close up pipes and rubber hoses. I don't want any fuel coming into the engine or more or less at this point dousing the engine while it's running. Hopefully that stops that from happening. I'm going to have my wife in the driver's seat to shut it off if that does start to happen. But I did pull off this pickup screen inside here. Right inside this big nut there is looks like a spark arrestor from a 2-cycle steel engine. And that was completely clean. So there was no fuel debris, there was no junk or gunk. So I don't really think this has been tried to be started at all since it was parked. So I put a little hose here, made a little flare fitting. I'm going to attach a rubber hose and run it to a little gas can right over here on the side. And just more or less use a battery pack just enough to fill up the bowl, try to get it running. If I can run a bowl of gas in it, then I'll probably stop, drain the oil, because I really want everything to kind of get moving again. And then, so that way you don't have any heavy deposits really on the bottom of the oil. So everything looks set up. I did already top this off and I did file the points down. There was a heavy amount of corrosion on there. So sure that would have stopped everything. I got new plugs and new wires. I did test the coil. The coil ohmed out as it works. So now it'll be time to rig up my mechanical gauge, put new plugs and wires in, get my temporary fuel rig set up. Oh, one more thing. I did not have full continuity between the negative battery cable and the end. So down where it met the engine, I thought it was maybe just corrosion, but it was actually the negative cable wire itself. So if you're ever trying this yourself, make sure you have good continuity between both your positive cables and your negative cables, or else you might have starting issues and cranking issues, which you might think are other problems, but it's as simple as a cable replacement. All right, hang on.
Another fun thing I got going here is Autolite spark plugs. I am a heavy NGK guy. I love NGK, V-Powers, and all the other stuff for these old engines. They're great plugs. I couldn't find any local in any of the stores. I found these at my local KOI. They've actually been sitting there since 2016. They're dated as such. And the guy that's worked there for a long time said that's probably how long they've been there. I did happen to find a nice set of wires too, which is great because it seems that as time is going on, parts for these older cars, whether it be that Mustang or that Galaxie, are harder and harder to find on the shelf. So sometimes you got to use what you got. This will at least be good enough for what we're trying to do today.
As I'm finishing up the spark plugs, why am I doing this? Well, for one, my kids will be able to see this one day when they get older, because they're not going to remember this. Two, I love watching these kind of videos myself. Love seeing first starts. Love seeing American history get restored. I love these old cars. Also, I'm also doing this so I can figure out where I need to start with this car. Just brought it home. I don't know if the engine's good, transmission's good, anything of that nature. So, before I go dumping money in places I don't need to be dumping it in, I can at least have a mindset of the engine runs. Fuel systems, parts, tanks, engines aren't very cheap anymore. Not that they ever were cheap. In the last 3 or 4 years, things have seemingly doubled, at least in my area. So I want to make sure, before I dump any more money into this, worth my while. I'm going to have 1,000 back. Got to throw the wires on. Got to hook my fuel jug up. I think we're ready to roll. Alright, oil pressure gauge. Hang on. Well, there's a Galaxie here ready to fire. I tested, I have spark. I have a quick clack pump running fuel up. I have a starter button ready to engage. I've primed up the carburetor, some gas. Don't know if the accelerator pump is worth anything, but here we go. It would help if I hook up the power. Here we are. Get some of this down here. Woo! All right. Try to advance it a little bit. Backfiring to the car. We have oil pressure. It's picking up some. Alright, we're going to check the firing order.
it on the other side.
Think. I mean, if it's, I can, but. Yeah, spark. Progression.
Alright, so it's the next day. Rebuilt the Autolite 2100. I have fuel in the bowl, I have accelerator pump. We know we have spark. Bunch of insulation blew out the tailpipe yesterday. Lisa's got the key on. There we go. Alright, so I don't have my mic on, so hopefully you can hear me, but this is why you don't trust other people's work. I'm willing to bet this is why this was barked 30 years ago. I didn't even think to check to see if this was 180 out. I already hacked off the exhaust because we were blowing all kinds of insulation out the back. I'm sure mouse made their nest. I'm betting this will fire. We have this set up ready to go. Train noise. Sweet. Oh yeah. When it's not 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to run this thing and not piss off my neighbors. But hey, beautiful. All right, first start in 30 years, 31 years.
We did it.
Cheers. Well, gotta get back to work. Well, we did it. Made a car run. It's been sitting for 31 years. I'm going to drain the oil on this. Give it a nice new Motorcraft filter. And get ready for the next video. If you liked what you saw tonight, you want to see what happens to the Galaxie, stay tuned. You want to hit the dinger bell, the dinner bell, whatever you want to call it. Hit the subscribe button. Keep posted on what happens to this thing. We're going to put it back on the road hopefully by spring. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. See you next time.